Welcome to the Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast. This is the Southeastern Bow Hunter.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast. In this episode, we're going to have my good buddy Brian Anderson from Prime and G5 back on here. We're not going to be doing any of the product highlights. I'm sure we'll end up talking about it, but this is going to be an episode all about Brian. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. It was a great time, and I always love getting my buddies on here. So before we get started with Brian, we're going to run through the partners real quick. Podcast brought to you by Sportsman's Empire. That is a network that we are currently working under, and it's got a whole host of different shows, all hunting related. But man, I don't even know how many there are, but there are a lot, and they're all great shows. So please go support them. It helps us, and you get a completely new, wide range of content rather than just the everyday, hey, welcome to a hunting show kind of thing. So next up, Lone Wolf Custom Gear. So I'm actually recording this 3 days before the Whitetail Road Show. I'm sure it was a great time. I hope, honestly, I got to see some people that listen to this podcast. But man, I am very excited to get my .75 and my V2 double sticks out in the woods. We've got 5 weeks at the time of recording this until deer season starts. And I'll tell you guys what, man, I've got a buck right now that is probably one of the biggest deer I've ever hunted. All my close friends have seen it. I call him the Little General because he is a mainframe 10 with a kicker on each G2. And he looks a lot like the original General buck, which if you don't know who that is, look up the General. He's an amazing deer. He looks like that. He's not nearly as big, but that's why I call him the Little General. So my plan is to use my Lone Wolf custom gear to be able to kill that deer, to be mobile and move around whenever I need to. So that is why I utilize it. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of a mix ad here for them, or a mix partner read or whatever. Lone Wolf and Goss have dropped a new collaboration. It is called, I actually just saw it. It's called the Disruptive Wolf Gray. And man, it looks sick. I don't know if I'm going to be running any of it, mainly because for where I hunt and how I hunt, or not really how I hunt, but where I hunt, it's probably not going to be for Georgia colors, the best thing. But honestly, man, I'd love to have a bow in this thing. This thing looks so cool. This run is amazing. So if you guys are fans of Osseo and Lone Wolf, I really recommend you go get it. It's a limited run, and so we're not gonna have it forever. Speaking of Osseo, my leafy jacket, I think, is going to be the one of the most important pieces of gear that I use this year. I have set the stands up to pretty much be tucked away at low elevation, so I'll be right on top of those deer. And I trust Osseo to keep me concealed. I really think you guys should too. I know there's some new stuff coming. I can't really talk about it just yet, but that leafy jacket is on point. And if you're going to be hunting in some cold weather this year, they've got you covered all the way from early season lightweight gear to the heavyweight late season Sherpa, keep you warm in 20-degree weather type stuff. So if you're looking for new camo, Osseo gear, in my opinion, is definitely the way to go. Next up, Boutique, best arrow wraps in the game. G5 Outdoors, I'm running the Mega Meat again this year. I'll probably pick up a pack of T2s just to give them a shot, take a couple does with them and see what it's like. Or not what it's like, but how it does. Actually looking at doing a completely new switch up a bunch of stuff arrow build for next year. Not doing it this year because season's in 5 weeks. So I'm going to stick with what I know works. But, I kind of want to try some new stuff. So if you guys are looking for new broadheads, G5 Outdoors is the way to go. And I can tell you those Mega Meats are absolutely devastating. Speaking of the G5 family, the next partner to read up is Prime Archery. And look, man, I actually have my bow right next to me. Some of you, if you're watching the videos, you can see it. I love this bow. This Prime Divide 31 is fantastic. I was practicing out of my Lone Wolf stand the other day with it, and I've hunted out of stands now for about 4 or 5 years because I used to just ground hunt. And I'll tell you what, man, being able to sit down again and shoot this bow, I have sat down and killed a couple of deer, and it was a little rough with the previous bows that I was shooting. But these primes, the best draw cycle I have ever shot. They stay extremely stable. It's a little bit late in the game if you're looking at a new bow. However, it's never too late. So if you're looking for a new bow, go to your local bow shop. I recommend you go to Ace Hardware. and in Social Circle, and go shoot a prime. You will not be disappointed. And remember, guys, nothing aims like a prime. Let's see. Next up, dialed archery. Dialed proof is ready to roll. I got that thing, no pun intended, but dialed in. Um, I man, I just love what they do. We're running the Lone Wolf custom gear dialed proof, and when you look at it, it's just there's just something about those sites, man. They're the sickest looking sites on the market, and they're honestly extremely easy to set up, bulletproof. I absolutely love it. Once there are some small batches that come up, I'll start telling you guys about it. But man, if you're looking for a new site, head over to Dialed. If you don't want a mover site, they have a single, or not a single, or actually, it could be a single pin, but they have a non-mover site that you can change the mags out, which is the scope that holds the pins. You can change that out with a 3-pin, 2-pin, single pin, movable pin, non-movable pin, vertical, horizontal, all that stuff. So if you're looking for a new site, head over to Dialed Archery and check out what they have for you. Next up, Moultrie. Cameras are working great. Not really much else to say other than the fact that they have the new Moultrie Edge 4 and Edge 4 Pro, and then the Edge 4 Solar and Edge 4 Solar Pro. I haven't gotten any of those yet. Honestly, I'm still running the Edge 2s, but from what I've seen and what I've been hearing and what my buddies have told me that are using those cameras, it's a league above it. So I'll probably end up running some of those next year. Man, I'm just really happy with the Moultrie product, honestly. I've used cell cams in the past and, they worked, but these Moultries are just kind of a cut above the rest. Um, at least from my experience. So if you're looking for new cameras, if you're one of those guys that gets cameras out late in the year, ain't nothing wrong with that, but head over to Moultrie and go get you some of those new cameras. Let's see. Next up, Bow Hunting League. Last week we did an episode with Ben from the Bow Hunting League. I hope pretty much all of you are signed up. If you're not and you need a team, let me know. I'll try to hook you up with some buddies. But yeah, the Bow Hunting League is changing lives, man. It's changing the game, and I absolutely am so thankful to be working with them. Speaking of contests and deer and all that stuff, Whitetail Champion. Whitetail Champion is a state specific. I forget how many states there are, but I am actually the state representative for Georgia for this competition, along with Alex DeBoard. Um, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a bunch of people that are serious about killing big deer, that's their thing, that we get them together. You get a team of 3 guys, you pay $450 for the team. That money goes into a pot, or 75% of that money goes into a pot. And then whoever wins, if you kill the biggest deer in the entire competition out of the 3 of you guys, if your team kills the biggest deer, you actually get that pot and you can split it 3 ways. And then you walk away with not only a big deer, but some money too. So if you have questions, reach out to me. I can answer all of the questions you guys might have. The link is in the description below, along with every other partner's links. And yeah, hopefully we get to see a good turnout from that. Next up, Scrape Doctor. I got my scrapes rolling. There's only one more thing I need to do, and I keep slacking because I keep forgetting, and that is get the new Scrape Doctor beads out. I really want to get those scent beads out and see how they work. I've heard good things. James has told me good things. But I like to use it and see how it actually goes. But the licking branch stuff I've been using with the Scrape Magic is working great. I've got some videos and pictures of my target buck hitting it already. Yes, it's at nighttime, but he's still hitting it. And we're not even in the thick of the pre-rudder or anything yet. So I'm really excited to see what comes from that. Next up, Victory Archery. I am running the HLRs. Absolutely love those arrows. I'm kind of thinking about going back to the RIP TKOs, just because they're tried and true, and really, I really like those arrows. But if you're looking for new arrows, again, you're kind of late in the game. However, it's never too late. I have a couple buddies that have been shooting and they keep tearing fletchings off or losing arrows or whatever. Victory is the way to go. All right. They make the toughest arrow on the market, with some of the best tolerances I have ever seen. So highly recommend you shoot Victory, or at least give it a shot. If you want to, head over to your local shop. Again, I recommend Ace Hardware and go check them out. See which arrows are a good fit for you. Let's see. Next up, Catalyst Archery. Super simple on that one, man. High quality stabilizers at an affordable price. It's not really much else to say to that. I know Brian's been working like crazy to make new products. Very excited to see what he comes up with. The dude's a freaking wizard when it comes down to hunting products. And last but not least is Unbound Archery, which are the strings that I currently run. Best aftermarket strings that I've ever used or seen. Nick is a great dude, and he really cares about what he's doing with this. So if you're looking at strings, and some of my buddies, if you're listening, you know I'm talking to you. Order some strings from Nick and from Unbound Archery, and man, get this done. Deer season's in 5 weeks. We don't have time to play around anymore, boys. So that is all the partners. Now, before I jump into this with Brian, I've got to talk to you guys about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Those of you that know me well, you know I've been going through some really rough stuff the past couple of weeks. If you listen to last week's episode, don't worry, I'm fine. I'm not quitting the podcast. That's not happening. But the Lord got me through it. All right. I look at what life is right now and where my values stand and where I put my effort and where he's taking me. And it's so much better than what I thought was going to happen, honestly. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but some stuff that I've seen over the past couple of days pretty much shows me that, I feel like I made the right decision. And that's all because of the Lord. So I was I was talking to my buddy TJ. I hope he doesn't mind me bringing this up, but I was talking to my buddy TJ the other day, and he was like, "Man, I got to be honest. There's just one thing that you're doing. I love what you're doing with the podcast. I love how you're talking about the Lord and trying to bring people to Him." He's like, "But there's one thing you say every episode," and he's like, you don't just try Jesus, right?" And I'm like, "No, you're right. I've been meaning to sort of address that." And so what I mean by saying if you don't know Jesus, give him a try, I don't mean, sit in your room or just say a quick prayer and be like, "Jesus, if you're real, show yourself," because that's not genuine. It's not how you build a relationship, right? What I mean is if you're going through something, like if you're really struggling with something, or maybe you just feel like an empty space, Jesus will fill that space. Okay. There is no try with him. If you truly, truly surrender your life over to him and start working towards creating a relationship with him and maintaining the relationship with him, um, you'll see a difference. Now, that doesn't mean, and I've said this before, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a life full of sunshine and rainbows. But when those storms come, you have someone who, I mean, let's just be honest, he's God. He created the universe with a word. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. Okay. That is literally, I think, out of John. Yeah, the book of John. That's like the first couple lines. Jesus, Jesus is God. He's Lord, God in the flesh. And if you doubt that there's anything he can't do, nothing's impossible for God. I'm probably going to butcher this a little bit, but I'm pretty sure there is a scripture that said, "Not all things are possible with man, but all things are possible with God." So whatever you're going through, doesn't matter what it is. If you surrender your life to him, he'll get you out of it. He might not do it immediately. All right. I am the perfect example of that, but he will get you out of it. So that's my preacher moment. I want to give a shout out to Pastor Josh over at Solid Rock. Man, it was great meeting you. Actually getting to talk to you. I really can't wait to get you on this podcast. For those of you that don't know, Josh is a pastor, or he's the pastor at Solid Rock Church in, I think it's Social Circle or Mansfield. I'm not actually sure, but it's a great church, man. We have been going. We've gone twice because life's been life, and I love it. He did a sermon this past week where he actually connected, which is why this is my favorite thing because I try to do this on the podcast as well. But he connected the Lord and hunting in part of the sermon, and it was very impactful and it hooked me. Shout out to Denzel too for being such a great guy, pushing me to, not really pushing me, but keeping me accountable, right, with coming to church and all that. And Christian, thank you, Christian. You're the reason that we even go. So shout out to you, Christian. Um, you're the whole reason I even know Solid Rock's a thing. So man, the people that the Lord's put in my life lately, I am so thankful. And I'm so thankful for all these partners. And I'm so thankful for every one of you listening and the family and the life that I'm getting to live. There comes trials, right? But nothing is too big for the Lord to get you through. Um, so yeah, that's my preacher moment. Hope you guys enjoy this podcast with Brian. It's gonna be a really good one. Um, Let me think. Is there anything else? I got the deer stuff out of the way. I got the partners out of the way. Talked about the Lord, which I could honestly do an entire episode on. Oh, one more thing. If you guys haven't, and I don't normally do this, but Cody's my buddy, so I'm going to do it. If you guys haven't checked out the docuseries Antler Craze, head over to originalbygod.com and go watch that freaking documentary. Episode 2 just dropped a couple days ago. Man, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. And the thing is, I already know the whole story, but it's so good. It's got Lee Ellis, Trent Ellis, Cody Idle, um, a bunch of antler collectors that are in this docuseries, and it's the story on the general, which is the largest typical whitetail that we have ever found. Sheds, deadhead, any of that. Um, and that is why I named my main target buck this year the Little General, because I just love that deer, and he's a true example of how beautiful God can make something. So, gonna end the intro on that. Brian's waiting on us. So let's get into it with Brian Anderson from Prime Archery and G5 Outdoors. Brian Anderson here from G5 Outdoors and Prime Archery. I'm laughing because we tried to do an intro before and then we both froze up. So if you hear that in the beginning of this, that's because it was hilarious. But dude, what is going on? So you were here on the podcast back in the spring. We were talking about the
Hmm.
Dirty Bird, which I
Yep.
still say is the sickest turkey head that's ever come out. But what have you been up to? How did let's start it this way. How did turkey season go?
So it was a pretty fast and furious one for me. So it was my son's first season. So we kind of got to do a little something special. My son started wrestling this year, and we've kind of fallen down a rabbit hole of a whole new family. And one of the local guys was like, "Hey, what's Wes doing for turkey season?" And I said, "Oh, I got a couple small spots, like we can kill, And he's like, "No, why don't you come out to the farm?" So. A little nervous, like don't know the family that well, and
Sure.
basically went out there and realized this guy has a giant farm right down the road from my house, and just the sweetest people in the world. They've built a log cabin on their property, so me and my buddy and his son and my son got to sleep in the cabin, and basically I set it up right out of the cabin. He's just learning how to hunt. Like I don't want to say learning how to hunt. He's a whitetail killer, but never really did a lot of turkey hunting. So
Yeah,
I told him like, you give me the spot, we're kill birds, and yeah, basically was able to double up in the first 10 or 12 minutes of daylight after I put the decoys out, did a call and basically had double come right in, and the boys were able to double up. It was pretty awesome. So like got to sleep
that's
in an
crazy.
old school trapper cabin, and kind of like the old school hunt for the boys, and got to get
Yeah.
it done. And then I was going to do a little public land hunting on the west side with some buddies that have always been telling me to come out. And so we set up the bikes. We're going to do e-bike trip in. And by the time we were halfway to the public land, one of their spots had three strutters in it. We ran out there. Within 10 minutes, I had a bird on the ground. So I really hunted about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes all season. So
Dude, I hope that's how my deer season goes this year. I really do. That sounds like, I mean, I love being out there, but that sounds like a really, really good season. That's awesome though, getting the boys involved. And dude, I didn't even think we were gonna go this route, but we're going to. There's a thing I've been noticing lately with guests that I've had on and talking with my buddies, and it almost feels like I don't want to say that I'm gonna say the deer camp side of thing, but hunting camp, it almost seems like it's disappeared in a big way. Like everybody used to do it, used to be a huge thing, and now it's like, yeah, let me drive 30 minutes down to the club, or let me, like me, all my spots are within 30 35 minutes of my house. So I don't have to do any deer camp or anything like that. It's kind of sad.
No,
So
I grew up the same way. Like we used to go up to this campground up northern Michigan, and there was shoot 20, 30 guys up there. Some guys would bring their kids, some guys would bring their wives, but mostly it was just the guys up there hunting, and it kind of drifted away. Like I'm the same way. We hunt little local pieces around here, maybe go on the local, an occasional trip. But yeah, the whole aspect of getting the boys together and going hunting camps kind of drifted away. So it was kind of special to be able to kind of have Wes's first turkey experience to kind of bring back a little hunting camp. So I actually got a text right before I sat down. He was asking me what we're doing for youth season. So I think we're gonna figure out youth fall together too.
nice, dude. That is so awesome. Yeah, I actually I don't know if I told you or not, but me and Jessica are going down to Michael Lee's farm in December this year.
Awesome.
And yeah, he invited us, and he's doing like this thing called I think it's Bucks and Bibles. And
Okay.
so it's pretty much just going to be hunting and the word, which you know me, that's like my two favorite things, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it after, we pretty much set everything up, and I'm like, dude, I just realized that's my first hunting camp because I've never done one. I mean, I've
Oh,
only been at
awesome.
this 7 years. So it's like, what better way to start it than to go and do that? And we're going to be talking about the Lord and like I don't know. I know one of my good buddies is going. I don't know who else is going though. So it's gonna be like first hunting camp, bunch of strangers around, and we're gonna be talking Jesus and hunting deer. So I is that something like have you ever thought and maybe this is something you could think about, for the future, like with the kids or with your buddy or whatever that you guys make it like a tradition in the coming years where it's like, hey, every turkey season we'll go over here, stay at the cabin. Every deer season we'll see if we can go over there. I mean, I feel like the youth these days need that, you know?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like, I mean, as much as I push my kids to get out of a Facebook and not even Facebook, but just a tablet in general, it's still pretty tough. Kids are just, into it now. So, yeah, so to be able to kind of set something up like that and kind of figure out a plan for the future, like, no, I think as long as we're buddies with these guys, I think we're going to try to make a camp out of it.
Awesome. Well, you know what we need to do? I'm planning on going to Wisconsin next year, and it's 100 acres, private land. There is a cabin there. You guys just need to come up when I go up there, and we can have like a true blue Midwest, northern Midwest hunting camp.
Well, let me know, man. I mean, Wisconsin's not too far from me,
I
so.
know it's way closer to you than it is to me.
But you gotta
It's like a
remember, I got a
14-hour
whole
drive.
giant lake I gotta get around to get over there. So
Yeah, I got half a continent to go
you
to,
do
so
have a head
it'd be
start.
all right. No, that's awesome, man. I love hearing that stuff, because like my daughter, she's man, she's honestly growing up. Her first day of school was today.
Oh
And
wow, okay.
yeah, and Jessica sent me a picture of them when they were getting on the bus and all that. And I mean, 11 years old, but she literally is like a teenager now. And I texted the group chat. I'm like, we're so old.
Yeah.
Like, when did this happen? And she's come up to me before wanting to go hunting, and you know, it's like I kind of explained to her, hey, you're getting up at 5 a.m. Just so you know. Like your Saturdays, you like to sleep in now. That ain't happening. And she's like, oh yeah, I don't know if I want to. I was like, all right, well maybe we can go in the evening. I was like, but if you kill something or I kill something, you're gonna learn how to gut it. And she's like,
Oh
no,
yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm like, then you're not going. And it's just gonna be the rule. So I mean, like, did you run into that when you first started bringing the boys out, or were they just all about it?
Um, so I mean, yeah, no, I mean, there's always that feeling. I mean, my daughter and my son, like I process all my own deer at the house, so like
Yeah.
they've seen it since they're really little. Same thing with turkeys. Like I got pictures of them when they're really little. Like they're all they're pretty intrigued by it. So they're touching the eyeballs. They're, looking at the things. Like one thing
Yeah.
that we've been doing the last few years, at least I have been, and I did it for West this year, is turkey rocks. So I don't know if you shoot a turkey, I don't know a lot of people do this or not, is they actually split the gizzard open and you pull the rocks
Uh-huh.
out. Well, I've got them from multiple states and they're all different. So like each one has its own like little unique, some anywhere to like even Indian beads, which is like a form of old coral. So
Huh.
like they've been doing that since they were little, picking rocks out, doing that stuff. So the concept of them being a little grossed out is not too bad, but gutting a deer or something like that, I think it's gonna still freak them out a little bit. So, it's always been bloodless by the time it gets to them usually. So,
You know what
um,
you need to do? You need to
what's
tell them
that?
that when they gut it, right, and they open the stomach cavity, make sure to tell them, hey, pop that.
Oh God.
Dude, I did that one time and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing that. If I'm
Oh,
gonna
dude,
keep gutting them
it's
myself. I'll be honest,
so.
I have actually not gutted a deer since 2022.
We need to get some deer on the ground for you, buddy.
Oh, I've gotten deer on the ground. It's just I'm lazy and I just take it up to the processor and pay the extra $40. Now I'll admit, in my older age, all right, 31, I'm getting up there. It's a little
Oh,
harder to drag these deer, right? So no, actually, dude, I don't know if I told you this story or not, but this buck, you can barely see him, but the spike that I got behind me, which was just like a
hmm.
125-pound 2-year-old, when I shot him last year with a mega meat, um, which absolutely devastated him. Watched him fall, all that stuff. Well, when I shot him and I was dragging him to the truck, which was only 30 yards away from where he fell,
Right.
it probably took me 15 minutes to get him there. And I realized I'm like, dude, I'm not in the best shape anymore. And I didn't gut him because I'm like, he's not that big. And if you could have seen the way I got this deer in the back of the truck, I was on my stomach, right? I pulled the buck up to the trailer hitch, right? And it's a lifted Chevy, it's a 6-inch lift, so it's not like it's right
Yeah.
down there. But I'm on my stomach on the tailgate. I put my arm down, grab one of his antlers, yank him up as high as I could, and then shimmy my way to my knees, pull him up as I'm doing this, grab the other antler, and then deadlift this deer up into the back of the truck. When I was done, I'm like, yeah, this needs to change. I need to start gutting them. I bought a game cart, and I mean, I wanted to think that I could do Cam Hanes style and just throw them over my shoulders. I don't think so. So
I don't think it's necessary. I
It's not
mean,
necessary, but I'd feel better, you know? So, um, yeah, man. No, I'm just curious, like people's kids' experiences, because Tiffany's only seen one dead turkey this past spring, that my buddy killed that he brought over to the house, and she was she just doesn't think turkeys are pretty to look at, right? Which I'm not gonna say that they are. Their fans are
they're
cool.
pretty ugly birds, man.
They are, yeah. And it was hilarious because she saw it and she was just like, "That's a turkey." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, touch it." She goes, "I'm not touching that." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, whatever. Wait till you see the inside of a deer. You're really not gonna want to touch that." And I think she's only seen one dead deer before, because I always take my stuff straight to the processor. That way, it's there's very low chance of the meat going bad because you know how hot it gets down here,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
You guys are a different story than us. We can hang a little longer once it comes
yeah,
deer season up here. So
yeah. But hey, I'm glad you're getting the kids involved.
appreciate that.
I really can't wait to see what you guys get going on this season. So, speaking of deer, why is my niece calling me? I'll call her back later. Um, how'd your deer season go last year?
Dude, I was on the struggle bus last year. So I started off with, I don't know if we talked about it in the spring or not, but I shot a pretty good bull elk this fall. Um, and stuck it right in the shoulder. So
Got you.
that was kind of a bust right off the beginning of my season. And after that, I didn't really have a ton of good deer on camera, so I kind of focused on Wes a little bit. He didn't have a tag, but he was just going hunting with me pretty much every season. We did pile up quite a few does, and we had a good time doing that. And then we did. You'll like this story. So my buddy's got this little spot, kind of. We just need to clear out some does at. So we went out Friday night to set up a blind, and as we're setting up a blind, some does rolled in. Bow, I shot one, but it was rather small. There was two that came in. I probably hit the wrong one, but we were just trying to, like I said, pile them up. So the
Yeah.
next morning we go out and I shoot another doe. And as we're packing up, we look up and here is a giant, like mid 40s to low 50s in Michigan, which is an absolute stud, like out of
Yeah.
nowhere, dogging two does, just dogging. Like I'm like, oh, dude, we're gonna kill this, Wes. Um, and it went in exactly where I thought it was gonna be. First doe steps out, no problem. Takes a step off. The next doe comes in, takes a step. All of a sudden, here he comes, broadside, sitting there. In my mind, the same exact distance I shot the two other deer, once before, the night before and 30 minutes before this. He hunched, he ran, all right, we just killed this buck. I do not know what happened. I don't have a speck of blood. I cannot find nothing. Only thing I can find is where his back foot pushed off the gravel. And
Huh.
like it was just insane. So I still don't know what happened. I mean, my biggest opportunity in Michigan on a buck, in front of my son, like trying to be a hero, right?
Yeah.
The worst part about it, like, it's always about, the same thing I've been teaching my son and everything is, there's wins and losses and you got to, keep your head up, right? So he tells me, he's like, Dad, like there's a bummer. And I'm like, well, what's wrong? He goes, well, if you'd have killed it, we could have had family dinner. And I said, anytime we have venison, it's family dinner. He goes, no, you shot a baby on Friday, you shot a mama this morning, and you could have shot the daddy. I was like, oh my God, you morbid little monster. But I mean, I got it, So I thought that was pretty funny that he came up with that all by himself. But so yeah, that was my season. It just kind of got to the point of just piling up does. So no big horns, nothing like that for 2025. 2026 is looking pretty bright. I got a really good Kansas tag, and I'm gonna hunt with a buddy of mine, and
Oh yeah.
we got some dandies on camera, so I'm pretty excited about the upcoming fall so far. So.
Dude, I can't wait. That is hilarious, by the way. That
Uh,
has to make you as a father be like, I'm doing all right, Like I
that's
got
it.
moments with Tiffany where cuz she's still in this stage of, she's still a kid, but she has adult moments. Like me and Jess
Right.
were talking about this and it really throws me cuz it's like I don't feel like I ever did that. I feel like one day I was a 10-year-old, the next day I was a, spiteful teenager.
I
And
kind of feel the same way. I got an 11-year-old girl at home and she has grown way faster. I don't know anything about girls. My wife doesn't. She's got two
oh
brothers.
dude.
Like we just don't know girls, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah, an 11-year-old girl is not something to mess with. It's a whole different species of whatever. I don't even know what to consider her. She's the sweetest thing in the world, and she is the wildest, meanest thing in the world all at the same
It's
time. So
terrifying. It's absolutely
terrifying is
terrifying.
the exact
Yeah.
word for it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Like,
proud of her. She's a monster. She's getting into wrestling this year. She saw her little brother have a kick-ass year, so now she's going after it. But yeah, she's one to not slow down, and I'm pretty excited because she's kind of got the bug too this year. So she's a little behind Wes on the amount of time she spent behind the string and behind the triggers. So she
mhm.
probably won't necessarily hunt early on, but if she's kind of comes through where I think she's maybe we can get her going a little late season too. So.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, the only thing stopping me is I need to buy a ground blind. And we're trying to save as much money as we can right now,
Mhm.
which if you look at what we just spent today, you probably wouldn't believe me. But it's Jessica's birthday is in 2 weeks. Tiff's birthday is in a week. So like this is the most expensive month for me except for December.
I
And
get that.
yeah. So I keep telling her, she's always like, "Are we going hunting this year?" I'm like, "I gotta grab a ground blind." She's like, "Well, buy one." I'm like, "Well, tell your grandparents not to run over them with their freaking mowers then." She's like, "We had one and then it got destroyed. So what do you want me to do?" Which I'm not gonna go into that. Hopefully they don't listen to this because they own property I still hunt. I love you guys,
Oh,
but
that's funny.
um, yeah, no, there's something about it, man. Because this year seems different. Like I've been selfish the past couple of years, where I'm like, no, it's my time away. It's my time in the woods. Those are my deer. And then now I'm looking at it like, you know what? Honestly, if I'm able to get her out there, I'm gonna get her out there. If it means we're sitting on the ground and she doesn't even have a weapon and she's just, hanging out and enjoying nature, what's wrong with that? She doesn't get out in it enough, so what's wrong with that?
Exactly.
Um, oh God. Speaking of, her and the dog are playing upstairs. Good thing you can't hear it. But yeah, man, it's just like I've had her name all my deer for the past couple of years. Like I feel like I really do need to get her more involved. And I even you'll get a kick out of this. So Jess was out of town a couple weeks ago, and our local shop has a every Thursday event, right? Where it's like come shoot, pay 25 bucks. You do a round of 10, I think, and whoever gets the highest score gets that money, like the pot the week after. I wasn't planning on shooting. I was just going to go to hang out, but Jess was gone and Tiff was supposed to be with me. And so I was like, "Hey, do you want to go over to Ace for this little archery event that they got and go hang out with the boys and, just maybe shoot some bows or something?" Dude, no hesitation. She was like, "Yeah, yeah, that'd be great." She ended up not going because she went to her dad's house. Um, they wanted to see her earlier. Her grandmother was in town. I don't know if I told you. I told you she's my stepdaughter, right?
I don't think so. You've always
Okay.
talked like she's your own. So
Yeah,
that's
well, I mean, she was 2 when I came in the picture, and I've
yeah,
I've
yeah,
done enough diapers. I feel like I can claim it. Uh,
absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
yeah, and me and her dad are like best friends, so it's really no big
Good.
deal. But I just didn't want it to sound weird. Where I'm like, yeah, my daughter. No, I took her to her dad's house, and it's like, what?
I,
but no,
I put the pieces together without telling me, but yeah, no, that's
yeah. Well, people that listen to this that don't know me are gonna be like, wait a minute, you're preaching Jesus, but then you're saying her dad's house, but then you've got a wife. What is going on here?
what is going on.
So yeah, I'm just clarifying. But yeah, no, man. There's something exciting about the older they've gotten. I feel like the more fun it is to bring them in the woods, and like they show interest, right? I mean, is that something that you've seen? Like as a dad, have you seen that, or has it always just been, hey, I'm taking the kids to the woods. We're gonna.
No, like I've never been one. I'm always 100% supportive of my kids' decisions,
Mhm.
but I've never been one to push. Like I grew up in a house. My dad was a very strict man. I mean, he pushed us, but I don't. It was kind of the same way. But I grasped onto it young. Like I was the kid sitting on the three-wheeler on the two track and at 3 and 4 years old, making sure I was out there hunting with my dad. Where
Yeah,
where Wes and Willow haven't been had that natural pull. I lost my dad at pretty young for about the age that the kids would probably start to really shoot anyways. Young for them, not for me.
yeah,
And he was the one that was always kind of the gatherer of, like, let's do these things. And so I think that kind of put a burden on it a little bit. So I haven't really, they've always wanted to do stuff with me, set up blinds, go hang tree stands. But when it actually came to hunting, they're like, I don't know. Or, just get them to shoot their bows. They're like, oh yeah, they'll go out and shoot 30, 40 arrows and then they're off doing
they're
something
done.
else. Right. But it seems like the last, year and a half, last 18 to 24 months, it's a different story. It's, hey, when are we going?
Yeah.
what's the next adventure? Like Wes was all like turkey season was so fast and furious. Like I said, we had two birds down in 10 minutes. And well, when can we go back out? Well, next year, like
Yeah.
you can come hunt with me, then I was gonna then they needed to get to go there. So the passion is there. It's just, being able to fuel it a little better for them. So like I do the Woods and Water Show. It's a local outdoor show up here. Wes works the booth with me at 9 years old, hangs
Oh,
out.
wow.
So so we got the new show trailer. We can talk about that here a little bit for Prime. Like he wants to
Yes.
help out on that. Like he's starting to really get infatuated with it doesn't matter if it is one branch of hunting or the other, he's definitely in. So and Willow's, like I said, seeing her little brother, I think maybe get a little more attention than she has lately. And it's definitely drawing her in too. So which I'm fine with whatever. I'll do a little sneaky stuff like that if it has to get her to join the group. But yeah, it wasn't always that way. So it's just
Yeah.
naturally kind of starting to progress that way lately. We do a lot of camping, we do a lot of river stuff, things like that as a family. So being out in the woods has always been something we've done, but taking it into the hunting levels, it's something new for them, and I'm all for it. So
Yeah, you guys are definitely out there a lot because I feel like every weekend I've texted you, you're like, yeah, man, we're out doing this and this. And I'm like, man, it's like you're making me feel bad, dude.
we try to fill them up. My wife's a teacher, so school time is pretty busy for her, so we don't get to. She doesn't get to do as much, and
Yeah.
I try to. I'm probably a little selfish when it comes to some of that, but the summertime, like we pack it in. If it's fishing, if it's tubing out of the river, if it's camping. My mom's got a place on a small place on a lake over here. We try to do that quite a bit. For if we're a family that likes to be outside, even when
Yeah.
I'm not, like I was at a salmon fishing tournament last weekend with some buddies, and she took our jumping jack camper and ran halfway across the state up north with the kids and went tubing with her girlfriend. So like, it doesn't have to be me to be around for them to want to be outside. So
Dude, that's so sick. I keep trying to get Jessica to go hiking and she keeps telling me wait till it gets colder.
I don't blame her, man. 100, whatever
Well,
the amount of
yeah.
precipitation or not humidity you boys got down
Oh,
there, it's a
dude.
whole different world.
You want to hear something so at the company I work with, Century Fire, the first 2 years, my van had no AC. We'd get it
Oh,
fixed. We'd get it fixed. But then something would happen and it'd go out, right? So they finally gave me a brand new van after a couple years. And I think I've had it now. I forget how long I've had it, but the AC has been great. It's been a blessing, right? Well, I was driving up to north of Atlanta and there was a brake rotor that was bouncing down the highway. Now, mind you, it's 7:15 in the morning.
oh,
I'm
geez.
going 75 miles an hour and I see this thing. I think it's a piece of the street, right? So I'm like, all right, don't hit it with the tire. It's probably not the best idea, but I'll just drive right over it. It might hit the bottom of the van a little bit, ding some stuff up, but it'll be fine. So I line it up, I go over it, and I hear a loud bang. And next thing I know, my AC that was running is now starting to warm up a bit.
Oh no.
So I was on the way to a Chick-fil-A supply center, and one of my good buddies is my contact up there. He's the engineer and all that stuff. So I call him. I was like, hey, I gotta play mechanic for like 10 minutes when I get there. I gotta figure out what's going on. This is what happened. So I get up there, I'm looking around, I don't see any leaks. I look under the van, nothing. Everything looks fine. And I give up and I'm like, all right, I'll just, I called my boss, told him what happened. I was like, dude, I'll just suffer, right? I went, 3, maybe 4 years, 2, 3 years, whatever it was with no AC. I'll be fine, right? I can survive. As I'm walking to go meet him at the door, I turn around and I take one more look and I see this thing sitting in the bottom of the bumper. So like on these transit vans, you know how they've got like the main grill and then the bumper, and in the bumper there's a grill also.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
see a piece of the plastic that's kind of popped out and I see something sitting in the little skid plate. So I turn around, I walk back over there and I stick my hand in there. It's a freaking brake rotor that s- must have exploded. So like my day was not as bad as that guy's, but I went a whole week without AC, and of course, our heat index was over 100 every single one of those days. So those, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I did no deer related stuff any of those days. I didn't put any feed out. I didn't scout. Some of my cameras died. They're still actually kind of dead because I've been so busy, but I would
Uh,
come home every single day from work. Oh, and on top of that, the next work day after that happened was a 12-hour work day at a bioengineering place that it was hot as crap because it was over by like the South Carolina border.
Okay.
Over there, it's a lot more humid because there's swamps,
Yeah.
and it was just horrible. And that was a 12-hour day. And so I got
Ugh.
to drive for an entire week with no AC, windows down. Um, I'd come home and take cold showers every single day. And yeah, so I don't see us doing much outdoor stuff aside from feeding deer until we start seeing maybe 50s in the morning. And it'll be deer season by then. So it's like, I'm not gonna have the time to do it anyway. Um, so I think what God's trying to tell me is move back up north. That's what I need to do.
It's
There's
not a
bigger
bad
deer,
thought.
it's colder. Um, dude, all right, so this is not hunting related, but I'm curious. You guys had a pretty gnarly tornado up there not that long ago.
We did. We did.
Was that anywhere near y'all?
No, it was
Okay, thank God.
probably hour 15. It's we okay, let's put it 75 miles. I don't we talking minutes up here instead of miles.
Yeah.
It's more of the central state, so I'm over kind of the Flint, Detroit area over on the eastern
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
It's a little bit more on the western. Yeah, no, I had some buddies that lived over that way, and they said it was spooky because that wasn't the only one that hit, the one that everybody's seen on the lake.
Really?
Multiples that hit around there, and it took out a lot of little towns. It was pretty hectic for a while.
Holy crap. Did they ever say how strong it was?
I don't remember to be honest with you. I
I
mean,
might have
just
to
I
look
think
it
we
up.
all kind of seen how big it was, so it was a fairly big one.
Yeah, I'm a huge tornado nerd, so
Okay.
when I thought about it, I was like, dude, I gotta ask about this. Because if you saw I've never seen one. I always wanted to see one, not up close. But when I saw that, I was like, oh crap. And I think now that I'm thinking about it, I actually did look to see where it was, and it wasn't near where you guys are.
Right.
Um, so that was nice, but it still sucks, man. Like seeing all those
Oh,
houses and stuff get
oh,
destroyed.
dude, devastation, man. We're pretty blessed. So, I mean, we're surrounded by the Great Lakes. We don't get as many as like the Midwest does, like Iowa and Illinois and things like
Yeah.
that. But we still get them. Like we're just not in that alley. So like they sneak up on us and kind of come out of nowhere where you kind of expect them in the Midwest a little more than you do in Michigan. Um, Yeah, no, I had one growing up. I still remember it was in a Dairy Queen of all places. My mom was driving down the road, like the alarms went off in the car, like the radio stations pulled in a Dairy Queen of all places, which is wild because it's nothing but glass. I'm like,
Yeah.
Mom, I don't think they taught us this in school to stand by glass windows. And it was basically a Dairy Queen and then a Myers, which is like our version of Walmart here. And
Yeah.
it literally went down the main road right in front of us. Like it was pretty wild. It wasn't a very big one, but I still remember it from God, I was 5 to 7, 8, maybe somewhere in there. Like I still remember it just like going down the road. Like, are we literally watching a tornado? Like it was pretty
Yeah.
wild. So,
I'm so jealous, man. When I was a kid, me and my stepdad used to chase them, but
oh,
we just
gee.
never saw them. And then what's bad is I remember one time, and I told Jessica, I was like, one of these springs, I want to go to like Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska
Gee.
to go like because they have those tornado chasing
Oh, yeah.
companies. And I'm like, I just want to do it once because I want to know for myself if I see one, am I going to pass out from fear or am I going to be as awestruck as I think I will?
I think you'd be awestruck. I mean, it's like a mighty power from God, like just,
Yeah,
you think why sometimes that he has a plan, but I mean, I don't think, I don't think it would be, I don't think you'd get shocked. I think you would just be like, wow, this is, God's got some power
gnarly.
behind this, and there's a reason why, and we got to listen. And it's pretty awe-striking. I remember my dad, he was a worked for circuit court for the police department, and he was in a conversion van one time, and he said like, dude, literally we were all parked on the side or right in the middle of the expressway, and he watched one hop the expressway, and he's like, I still remember it to that day. He's like, I just sat there and watched. He goes, there was nothing you could do. He's like, you couldn't back up. I'm got 8 people, 8 prisoners in the back of the van with another guy. He's like, their lives are in my hand. And he's like, it's not like I could abandon it. It's not like I could back up. You can't go towards it. I mean, we were kind of more in a stuck place, but I still remember him telling me that story. He's like, you just see the power. It's just kind of amazing on what can happen out of the blue.
That's so crazy, dude. I never thought we'd be talking about tornadoes on this
Right.
podcast,
Yeah,
but
me
that is
neither.
so
So,
awesome. It's just, the whole thing, like I want to get more in depth on your story, right?
okay.
Like you've been on here a lot, talking about the products, and I definitely want to talk about the truck. I want to talk about the Prime truck or
Yeah.
what was it called again? The
Prime Tour truck.
Okay, that's what I thought. I do want to talk about that, but I want the people to know Brian better. I
Yeah, man.
want them to know my boy a little bit better. So, um, Give me some background. Like
Yeah,
when
yeah, absolutely.
what
Um,
got you? Okay, go ahead.
yeah, no, I'll
You
just
got
go right
it.
into it. So growing up, like I said, I grew up like on the back of a three-wheeler. My mom's dad was, they were big time whitetail guys, big time bow hunters, gun hunters too. So I kind of grew up in a small little area up north. I mean, we lived down here, but it didn't matter if it was school or not. If every Thursday night till basically Sunday, we were up north. And we were whitetail hunting, So from when I was really little, you couldn't bow hunt in Michigan until you were 12. So it was a lot of watching, waiting, hoping, dreaming kind of things. Um, so grew up with that. My dad was a police officer, but at the same time, he was a semi-professional archer. He actually won Vegas before Vegas was a big thing.
Wow.
And yeah, dad shot for PSE, shot for Browning before PSE, my whole life. So I kind of grew up around the archery world. We ended up moving out of Flint, so my parents worked their ass off to get me out of a kind of a second world spot. I mean, Flint's not known for the best place, and moved into a little country town that the reason we moved over there was closer to the archery shop. So dad would take me up to the archery shop, and I end up starting working there between seventh and eighth grade, fletching arrows in the back room. Um, and it wasn't 3 or 4 months later, I was out on the shop floor tuning bows, working on bows, doing that. By the time I was in between ninth and 10th grade, I had to make the decision of school sports or actually becoming the manager of the archery shop, still going to high school full time. So by the time I was in 10th grade of high school, I was managing a very, very successful archery shop.
Holy crap.
And still managing to go to school as much as I possibly could. We ran a block schedule system, so it was only 4 classes a day. So
Yeah, that's what I had, dude. I loved it.
yeah, it was awesome. But I had work co-op, one of those things. So basically, I had 3 classes, and then I would go back to the archery shop. So I kind of grew up that way. So I kind of grew up in under my dad's wing. He was the guy in archery and loved it. We traveled all over the country to Vegas, outdoor nationals, Tulsa, you name it. We were traveling the country doing that. But dad was a whitetail guy through and through. Like we didn't really do a ton of hunts
Hmm.
besides chasing whitetails. So from that point, I was working the archery shop, and my sales rep at the time for I want to say it was Hoyt is where he used to rep for, became the national sales manager for G5. So he actually came in and was kind of interested in saying, "Hey, do you want to kind of run our customer service? You want to be our customer service guy?" And I thought about it. This was just 20. I was 21 or 20. No, I was 23. Trying to think how old I was. 25 because I'm actually plus 20 years in the company now. Um, so no, 22, 20, 23. But yeah, so I went in and started doing that, started working customer service. It was kind of my interview was kind of comical. I went in for the interview, and it was him that I've known forever, and then another guy I've never met before, and they're kind of chuckling. And I'd be like, I'm a nonstop talker, as you guys know. And I was like, dude, you guys got to be honest with me. Like, why are you guys laughing? Like, I'm walking into an interview. I'm a young kid. I kind of went right out of high school into this job. Um, and basically they said, we really don't have an interview process for you. You got the job if you want it. We just need to make it look professional. So I'm sure the Graces want to hear that now. But so I went from customer service, running that for a long time, getting that squared away, to moving over to sales. And basically, I ran the western half of the United States for almost 10 or 12 years for G5. So I did all the dealers, did all the events, tax, things like that. But I was also the one that was kind of always organizing photo shoots, working with our pro staffers, that kind of stuff, and influencers, things like that, running events, things like that. And the boss is like, "Why aren't we've had this job opening? Why haven't you applied for it?" I'm like, "Man, I've talked about going to marketing for years, and you've kind of said you're exactly where I want you. I'm the guy that can talk to anybody. I was great with my dealers. I took care of things." And Matt's like, "No, we need you. We need you in this spot." So about 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago now, I switched over from sales into customer into basically the community manager, brand manager position. So working with guys like yourself to, TV celebrities to enter brands. So working with anything that we do with any of our other brands, things like that. So I mean, kind of been talking mostly job the whole time more than myself. So But yeah, no, it's been wrapped around archery since I was a little kid. It's been my life since I was just a wee kid, and it's kind of been my passion. It's where my friendships are with all my buddies. Like I still have a bunch of high school friends that, kind of a lot of guys grow out of that, but we fish, we hunt, we go camping together. It's pretty much my life is being out in the outdoors of some way, shape, or form. So. Um, it's been good. It's been a journey. I've had a lot of jealous friends. I've had a lot of jealous people in my life just saying, "Oh my God," then they realize that my busiest time of the year is in October when we should be hunting. So they don't get that jealous after they find
Yeah.
that. Yeah, no, it's been a great ride. Like the Graces are an amazing company or amazing family to work for. So to be able to kind of take my small archery career and to turn it into a 20-year passion has been pretty awesome. There's a lot of people in this industry that bounce around to try to find that one position or chase the dollar. The dollars will come, as you grow.
Yeah.
Um, there's nothing like working for a family that believes in what you guys do and believe in yourself too. So.
Well, I love that. I never knew that. I really didn't. Like I knew that you were in it for a while. I never knew that like you basically got into this right out of high school, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically, I mean, really in the archery industry since I was in seventh grade. So even before
That's
high
so
school, I was
wild.
I was doing it. Like I still remember the only ATA besides this last year we missed it was the year in between working at the archery shop and the year I got hired by G5. Like I
Mhm.
went to I think I counted it was like 27 ATA shows. Been doing it since a little kid. Loved it, passion. Like that's it. Like being able to help my friends out and being able to support my friends and people we do ventures with and help grow a brand that I believe is it's truly has its place in the industry for a reason. It's good people, it's good product. To be able to wrap myself around that has been really, really something special.
I hope the Graces listen to this so they can know how you feel about it. They deserve to know. No, man, that's the type of like story that people need to hear, because and I was one of them too. Like when I first started doing this, I never knew, my question was always, how do I break into the industry? Right. I'd watch Seek One, I'd watch Waddell and Ranella and all these guys. I'm like, yeah, I can't film like that, like I just don't have the means to do it. I don't have the knowledge and all that stuff, but I want to do something with it.
Yeah.
And over the years now, you know, meeting all these different types of people, hanging out at the shop, going to events, talking to you, talking to other guys that, are partners of the podcast and hearing their stories. Man, there's so many different ways to get in.
Sure.
And like, it's the type of industry that, yes, it can chew you and spit you out, but which I have dealt with some drama lately regarding the industry. So, fun stuff. I got a good taste of it. But it's also the type of industry that you literally can grow. You have to put in the work and find your place. And it
Yeah.
sounds like the Lord put you in your place where you're supposed to be very early on. And I mean, you guys, I love it when I go on Instagram and I see you on one of the reels, and I'm like, all right, what's Brian got today? And I'll watch every single one of them. And like what you do is so good.
Thank
Like
you.
you are very good at what you do.
By
So
far my least favorite thing to do. Like I don't mind getting in front of the camera, but I would rather put somebody else in front of the camera and highlight them. Like to me, I'm the guy behind the scenes. I'm the guy that puts it together, helps out on that side. We have a great team, so I can't say it's just me because we have an amazing team and we all put it together. But somehow they still talk me and get in front of the camera and explain things, explain products, explain the little things. It's just been natural for me. I'm the guy that doesn't shut up, so maybe it is good to put a camera in front of me. Our videographer Evan actually worked a little bit with Seek One when he grew out or when he was doing all his intern work and things like that. And he's the one that kind of talks me into. He's like, "Dude, you're great at this," and I'm like, "I'm farly like obviously we did 12 takes to get that one," and he's like, "Dude, but you got the info out. Like there's
yeah,
people that we can take 30 takes and still don't get the right info out." So I'm stuck full of the knowledge. It's just how can I get it out without stumbling over my words?
yeah. But see, the
Um,
thing is, what's so drawing to me about like what you guys do is it's genuine,
yeah,
I mean, I can't tell you, man, especially on TikTok. I'll just be scrolling through bored or hanging out with Jess while she's working, and I'm just watching all this stuff, and it's like you can tell. when someone's not being genuine, or they're just trying to push something, or they think they know it all. And maybe what they're saying is true, but it's so
Probably.
flat and there's no personality. Like when I watch y'all stuff, I'm encapsulated in it. I'm
Thank you.
like, yo, I'm gonna watch this 5 more times. Like it's just that good because it's genuine. You're getting a real person, not hey, so today's product is gonna be blah blah blah. And it's like it doesn't have a real feeling to it. You know what I'm saying?
You won't, you're going to see some, but you're not going to see too many talking heads from us. You're going to see
Yeah.
real life situations, and that's what we're doing. I think that's what people want. I think that as a brand, that's what we believe people want. People want decent, real information. They want it genuine. They don't want lies. They don't want to be just told. Like if you have half of our videos, we're not selling a product. We're telling a
Yeah.
story. We're telling you about
Exactly.
what the machines we are to use them on. We're telling you why after you purchase. A lot of the stuff is post-purchase videos and just trying to help it. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are giving information, and some of it's good, some of it's not. We're a manufacturer and we feel like it's our responsibility to be as honest as we possibly can. And sometimes that's going against what the influencer's saying or anything like that, just because they want to put the information out there so they can get eyes and clicks and views. Like we want true, genuine information out there, and sometimes that's not easy to do. It goes against the grain a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's genuine, and a lot of
Hmm.
times we get to have fun with it. I mean, I'm sure you got to watch the lifting up the carbon, the carbon bow, lifting up all the steel bars, we
Yep.
put 8,000 pounds. I mean, it's funny because that's me in a nutshell. Like I literally pulled out an M&M peanut or peanut M&M out of my pocket, and it was not staged. I was like, oh shit, there's literally an M&M in my pocket, right? And that's who I am. Like I'm not gonna change for the camera. We're not gonna change for the camera. I keep saying myself. I know you want to talk about me, but as a brand, like it's genuine people. Our engineers are the ones doing the videos. Our
Yeah.
marketing videos. Like we're not just hiring talking heads. We have plenty of great influencers out there on the market, that are going to help with that information and do that stuff. But if we can do a little better job explaining it, then that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, I was at the shop, the archery shop a couple weeks ago, and it was actually that night. I think it that night that we had the shoot. It might have been a different day. I've been over there quite a bit lately.
Oh,
Just trying
that
to,
time of day, right?
hang out, help a little bit, whatever. And my buddy Chris, who shoots Prime, is an actual like he's one of the archery techs. And so we were talking or whatever, and this guy comes up and he's got a Matthews, an Arc 34, I think it was a Hoyt RX 10 or AX 3. I know it was a Hoyt. I don't remember exactly. And then he had a Divide 35. And we're over there and I kind of get in his ear a little bit and I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I was like, go ahead and shoot that Matthews and that Hoyt first, but save that Prime for last because you want to save the best for last. And Chris chimes in and he goes, yeah, actually, that riser, they lifted 7,000 pounds with it and it didn't break. And I was like, oh yeah, they did lift 7,000 pounds with it, didn't they? And it's kind of been like this little insider, not joke, but like a selling point that we've been telling people. And you should see their faces when they hear that. Cause I'll sit there and be like, dude, I would lift my truck with this bow if I could. I mean, it's that strong. And it's just man, y'all step outside the box. And plus I will say this. One of my best gauges personally for not just brands that I'd want to work with or anything, but like a brand that I would label as a good brand, right? And maybe I'm wrong in doing this, but I look at who works with them. Like, look who works with you guys. Seek One, Crispy, Bone Collector. I mean, those three alone kind of show that okay, those guys aren't going to work with a crappy brand that doesn't care about their people.
I mean, the way I got to look at it is I mean, because you do see a lot of sponsorship dollars thrown around.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, of course.
but at the end of the day, all three of the names that you brought to the table were shooting our broadheads before we offered them, any kind of contract. It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't us chasing them to be selling our product. They were
Yeah.
already shooting our stuff. So to have brands, powerful brands like Sequan, Crispy, Bone Collectors, Mad Singer, I mean, all these guys, Gritty, Martin, Braden, we have a pile of them, Ben Rising,
Yeah.
so, we have all these great guys we work with. 9 times out of 10, they have come to us because they've already used our product and they believe in our product. So
Hmm.
it's not us just chasing a face to sell a product.
Yeah.
Yeah, we utilize our guys, and as we should. But that's when you have the best of the best using your product, we hope to have the best of the best product in their hand. I mean, it's not just going after shooting whitetails anymore. I mean, you got somebody like, Lee, that's going all over the country to kill the biggest deer. You got somebody like Chris that is going to travel the globe to kill whatever animal gets in front of him. Ben Rising is right there with Lee, some of the best whitetail killers in the country.
Hmm.
Matt Singer does all these crazy Western adventures. They're relying on our products to be able to put down an animal ethically, clean, big holes. We don't always make perfect shots. So if it does make an offside, a bad shot, it helps, Look at Lee on his elk last year. His sight got bumped and he had two spots. I mean, it was definitely the bow. It wasn't the broadhead, because both arrows hit exactly the same spot. But if he didn't have a good broadhead, he probably wouldn't have killed that elk. And,
Yeah.
it's a good product when you have things that happen, and things are gonna happen. That's the thing that like people don't realize about hunting. Like we all put our time in, we all put our effort in, some more than others, but it always doesn't come together the way we want it to. Things get banged, things get bumped. We're just not having a good day, and you still want to have a product that's going to be able to back that up when the time comes. If it's a bow, if it's a broadhead, if it's as small as a peep sight, we try to make sure everything we do is going to be a good product. But then, like you said, it's people too, and I firmly believe that in the industry, like we partner with some brands and we partner with the people that we believe in. The product is always good. We're always going to focus on and good partners with good product, but a lot of it's the people behind them. That's what makes a good brand at the end of the day. I mean, I hope, I've been able to be
Yeah.
fortunate to work with some of the best, and, be able to have the best products behind it. So,
I'm right there with you. I want to change gears a little bit and get a
yeah,
little
buddy.
a little more personal here.
Okay.
So, how do I word this? You know what? I'm just going to ask. How what's the story about your faith? How did you come to know the Lord? How did your relationship with Jesus start?
I grew up with my dad. My dad's a full-blown Catholic, I don't necessarily, I don't want to say I'm not Catholic anymore, but I'm more free, open thinking than I think the Catholic religion
Oh,
wants to
I,
allow.
I gotta
Um,
pause you. I gotta pause you. You and I are in the exact same boat. I grew up Catholic and I was talking to a buddy of mine about it and I was like, "Am I still Catholic?" Like I asked ChatGPT because I
and I
didn't know who else to
agree
ask. I'm
with the
like, "Am I
things.
considered Catholic even if I don't go to a Catholic church but never denounce the faith?" And they were like, "Yeah, per Catholic doctrine, you're just unpracticing." I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." I mean,
No, it's funny you say that because me and my wife and the kids, we haven't gone to church a lot. We definitely believe in Christ, and we think about it, and we pray and we do all that together, but we haven't spent enough time in the church lately. And I grew up in a Catholic church, but it's very by the book, and like didn't get confirmed till I was in 11th grade, so had to grind it all the way through. And not that it was a bad thing. It's something I really cherish growing up with. But I was talking to my brother about this, and I'm like, I think I want to get the kids back into going church more, but I think we're going to go to a non-denominational, a
yep.
church or whatever it may be. And I got a bunch of buddies that work at a, or, run through Amazing Church down the road. And my brother kind of joked with me, he goes, I don't deal with that voodoo type stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
Voodoo?
just because it wasn't Catholic, because he's grown up so
Oh,
Catholic, and to him it's not the same if it wasn't, and to me it's I want to believe in a higher power. Not I don't want to believe, I believe in Jesus Christ and I believe in a higher power. But I don't think there's a way that you should have to follow the rules to this exact T to believe
yeah.
that you're not going to end up in heaven with your family. Like I have a lot of friends out west that are Mormons. And I'm very intrigued in, different religions and learning about Christ. And, I talk to them the same way. And, because they're always like, oh, you should have more kids and come out here and live with us, and become a Mormon. And, can I tell them like, yeah, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, you pay
I
my
was,
bills? Because I don't know if you know kids are expensive. They're
yes,
very expensive.
exactly. But, but yeah, so just I'm always interested in other religions, but I'm always trying to bring Christ into my life. And yeah, it kind of grew up as a Catholic in a very Catholic home. My grandma was Catholic, my dad was Catholic. Even like when my dad found out that me and Lauren were getting married, he's like, "Well, you're getting married in a Catholic church," and
Mhm.
I said, "No, no, we're not. We're gonna get married however we want, and
Yep.
we'll be blessed, and that's how it's gonna be." And my mom kind of cracked on my dad and was like, "Do you remember what I had to go through when I switched from Baptist to Catholic to marry you?" And la da da. And she was kind of on him about it. And then the thing is about all this is, I know this has nothing to do with religion, but my dad's like, he still really wanted me to get married in a Catholic church. And I said, Dad, I think we're going to get married on a cruise ship, and we're gonna go down, and we can probably smoke Cuban cigars. And he was like, okay, yep, let's do that. Like, as soon as he heard he could smoke a cigar on a boat,
Yep.
he was there. So I'm like, how hard Catholic are you really?
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, dude, so I went down the rabbit hole this past year on like because I was trying to figure it out too, right? For years I was always, especially after I really gave my life to Christ, I was like, you know what? I'm not claiming any denomination. If somebody asks me, I follow Christ, right?
that's how I
And
do.
but I always had this thought because I'm like, okay, I grew up Catholic. My whole family's Catholic. They do claim to be the church that he founded. They've got all these records and all this other stuff. But when I look at least what I've been able to find, and I've talked to people that are in the Catholic Church, and they're telling me, oh yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that. You have to go to confession with a priest, or it doesn't count. I'm like, it doesn't say that. And then they're like, oh well, you can't just go off of what the Bible says. We made the Bible. I did the research. It's not the case, and it's like I'm like this to me, and look, I love our Catholic brothers and sisters. I do. I'm
Oh,
not trying to
totally
sound like
agree.
they're wrong. I'm not trying to sound like, hey, if you're Catholic, you're not going to heaven. I don't believe that. I believe that they are. But I would look at it like if you compare back when Jesus was on earth and was dealing with like the Pharisees and all of that, and they had all these laws they had to follow. Jesus never once was like, yeah, no, you gotta do all these things. He's like, you have to do one thing. That is believe that I am the Son of God and that what I'm doing on this cross is going to save you. That's all you've got to do. Put your
Yep.
faith in me. That's it. All you got to do. Everything else will come after that. Only put your faith in me and you will see the change, right? Never said anything in there that if I miss mass on a Sunday that I am in mortal sin and that if I die on Monday and I'm in that I'm going to hell. Never says that. So I'm
No.
like, look, man, you know what? We go to a non-denominational church also, and our pastor actually is a deer hunter, which is great. Like I'm gonna get him on the podcast in person, sit down and talk it all out.
Awesome.
And I just feel like there's more of how can I put it? A real relationship from my perspective with the Lord is just that. It's a relationship with him. I shouldn't have to go to somebody and be like, "Hey, I did these things and I'm sorry," because I go to him. I go to Jesus and say, "Hey, Lord, I messed up. I've been messing up. Please forgive me." And I put my faith in the fact of I'm forgiven, just like I'm sure you do. Just like I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast do. And it's
Yep.
like I didn't I don't really know where to go with that other than I'm happy to hear your story on that because I never knew. I never
No,
knew any
I
of that.
don't talk about it much. I definitely, like I said, I believe in Christ, and I'm never going to shy away from that. But I've never really talked about it much. I mean, like I said, I grew up in a very Catholic home and very, overseen. And my grandpa passed away before I was alive, and my grandma had a very, strict rule about the house, and my dad was, kind of felt that same way because it was them. It was him and it was my mom and my grandma, my dad, them two together, and that's the path they took. My dad went to a Catholic high school, like, that's how we grew up. But as you kind of I think there's more education out, nowadays than there is anything, and you can kind of research however you want to be, and you can think however you want to be. And I'm never going to look down on anybody if they don't believe, or if they believe different than I do, or if they believe in a different religion. At the end of the day, I think there is one higher power, and I think we'll probably all end up in the same two places. And hopefully we all end up in the one better than the other. And
Yeah.
we get to see our families again, and we get to live in heaven. And it's a thing to look at for the future to make sure, like, at the end of the day, even if you don't believe, maybe if it just helps you be a better person, then so be it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all supposed to be here to take care of each other and look after each other, good, bad, and different. So to me, it's a vision, it's a purpose, to stay clean and to look better at my family and my friends and have hope. At the end of the day, we all want hope and we all want, eternal, so.
It's so beautiful. What I'm about to ask you is going to completely ruin what you just did. So I'm sorry. Before we get off of the faith side of things, did you ever deal with nuns? Have you ever met a nun?
Not a ton. So with the church we grew up in, really it's just one nun.
Was
One
she nice?
Yeah, she was really sweet, honestly. I still remember her growing up. It kind of helped my mom was one of the catechism teachers growing up. So,
Mm,
the nun couldn't get too
so you
mean.
were safe.
We had a
You're
really
lucky.
sweet nurse, nun in the church we grew up in.
Man,
I still remember her. So,
you're very lucky because I went to a Catholic school when I was a kid and they
oh,
had
yeah.
nuns everywhere. Man, some feisty ladies.
I can imagine. I still remember my dad saying, because he went to, like I said, he went to Powers Catholic high school, and
Hmm.
one of the nuns they'd swat him, right?
Yeah,
And
with the ruler, right?
this was a paddle, and
Oh,
basically it was two with the left or one with the right. And he's like, you took the one with the right because that lady could swing just as hard with the left. It was always a sucker bet, right? So yeah, so I've heard the stories of nasty nuns, and I've never had that problem. That wasn't something that scared me away from the Catholic religion. If anything, it probably brought me closer just because we had some amazing priests and we had an amazing nun. She was there through all the priests that came in and out of there. And she was the one that was always kind of the one you could go talk to. So yeah, I was pretty
yeah.
blessed on that growing up.
Okay. Well, I'm just going from experience, and this is not all nuns. It's just I had a couple. I forget their name. It was Sister something, but man, ooh, she was rough. I also was kind of a handful, so maybe that had something to do with it.
I must too. So I can't
I
say.
Yeah, like we used to go to mass every Wednesday, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd fall asleep. They'd start speaking in Latin, and I just would be like, I don't know what this guy's saying, so I'm just gonna. And then they'd come up, they take the ruler, pop me on the hand, and like, you need to wake up. I'm just like, okay, what's he saying? And they just don't answer the question and just keep on going. Again,
They,
my own experience. I
they
know they're
didn't
not
know
all like
either.
that.
They didn't
Yeah,
know
he
it.
probably. Dude, I found out the what is it? The Latin mass is like the hardest one to actually get through that even a lot of devout Catholics can't do it because it's like you need to know Latin or you're just sitting there listening to this guy talking a language you don't understand.
Exactly.
So it's just interesting, man. But all right, so changing gears again,
Yeah, man.
the
Well,
Prime Tour truck.
prom tour truck. Yeah, we did a little different thing this year with the TAC tour. We started it a little bit before. Mitch, our show coordinator, he was actually my partner on the sales side for a long time. Casey, Kayla, basically our kind of marketing team together came up with the idea of doing something totally different on the road than what we're used to. We've always
Mhm.
done these big canvas tents, kind of felt like hunting camp when you rolled into our booths. It was fun. It was a lot of fun for a long time. A lot of brands copied us. A lot of brands are still doing that look and feel, and it's great. It's a great feel. But we wanted to do something different. We wanted something engaging. We wanted to do something we could bring our dealers involved into. So yeah, so we built a custom show trailer from the ground up this year, and I'm talking this thing is freaking sweet.
It's
The cool
gnarly.
thing is whenever we're having this trailer at an event, you can walk up to the booth, which is not a brand normal bow brands don't do this. We will, and I don't, nobody does this part of it, but you can build a bow from the ground up. You can literally pick the riser, the cams, the limbs, all the way, everything, colors, shapes, sizes, brace heights, axles, and we will build a bow custom for you right on the truck.
So crazy.
We have the same machines that we have in the factory. Nate built these cycle machines because every single one of our bows before we leave the factory gets drawn 100 times. We shoot them, but every single one gets drawn 100 times. That help pre-stretching strings for anything.
Hmm.
Everybody says, "Oh, I got pre-stretched strings," but that's not a perfect line, right? Once
Yeah,
you put them on a bow and actually draw them and bend them around corners and start bending servings, all that stuff makes a difference. So we have a machine that draws it 100 times. We have a cycle, we have a draw board, we have a high-end spike press from the guys at Gas. Yeah, when you walk up to the trailer, if you're interested, and what we do is we actually help the local dealer. So we don't take the sale off that. We'll sell it to them directly, but we're actually working with the dealer, and they're getting that credit towards their commitment to Prime. So we're not rolling into areas and going, hey, we're going to undercut our dealers. We're actually going into these areas and actually helping them. But yeah, it's really cool. Like, I mean, we have a spot to shoot in the trailer, so you can literally shoot right at the trailer. We have an entire apparel department, something we've never had in the past. We've always sold a couple t-shirts and hats. But yeah, when you walk into the booth, there's usually anywhere from 25 to 50 risers in the back of the booth. You can pick out, so like that's the one thing we did the last couple years is we're allowing more shapes and sizes so guys can pick up brace heights and axles. Normally there's an option of one or two axles in a flagship bow, but we have four: 31, 33, 35, and 37. But you can also get a 6 or a 7 inch brace height. So basically you can build your dream bow. If you want a bow that's, super smooth and forgiving, you can build that. If you want one that's, short and fast, you can build that. If you want one that leans a little more 3D. We did some one-off stuff this year. So a couple different events. We built one specific bow, like, or at least we brought parts for it. So you could build up that. We brought a lot of the vintage patterns back. So like Max One, all the old, First Light patterns, old Realtree patterns, old Sitka patterns. We put those on the truck this year. So we had one off. So as soon as somebody bought them, that's the only one you can get. So we're allowing to have our customers have a real world experience. You get to build the bow right in front of you. You get to see the experience. You get to be part of the experience. If you're at like a tack event, and you do have accessories. We help build it up. We help, totally build a bow and tune it. You're walking away with a bow that's completely tuned, ready for you from the factory. You're still getting all the factory details with it. So you're getting the lifetime warranty, you're getting the strings and cables. We did custom strings and cables for the truck. So you get these custom white ones that are basically all natural with all branded for Prime. Yeah, we're trying to bring the the factory slash dealer experience to any location. So we've taken it to all the tacks, most of the tacks. I can't say all the tacks. We've done some dealer events in between. We're planning on doing here a dealer event in Michigan here in a few weeks. We're going to try to use it as much as we can. We might even use it for ATA, or if we can get it in Western Hunt Expo. If we can get it in there, we're going to have the trailer at all the places we want it. We normally do our trade shows.
Dude, I felt like such an idiot when I went to TAC this year. Because I think I told you I had no free time. We got there, we started shooting, we come back, we wait for food for an hour and a half because we were starving, and then we left because everyone was breaking down.
Yeah, that's what we.
And so I literally ate a cheeseburger right next to the tack truck, and I was like, man, I really want to go over there. They're already closing shop. So I guess I missed it this year. And then I think it's like 2 months or so later, Scott from Dialed puts out a video of him getting his 80-pound bow built. And I texted you. I was like, wait. This is what's happening? I was like, you're telling me you're building bows on site, like right there.
Right there.
And it was the coolest thing. And the fact that you guys are bringing a bunch of stuff back too, like that that just it makes it special. Because I know last year at the Tennessee Attack, didn't you guys give a bow away that was like red and white or something like that?
So Michigan last year we gave a one of a kind red and white, basically tack theme bow. So we launched the Form 34, the standard form at the beginning of season. Well, we didn't come out with the 30 until midsummer. So we launched the Form 30 at Michigan. And we want to do something special for tack. So we had a little after hours party. We did tickets all day. And basically you were able to somebody got to win it. So the cool thing is like it was such a cool process. That dude took that bow on the mountain the very next day. That's how much,
So cool, dude.
how much one he believed in us, but two as how quick you can set up a prime and get it rolling. So yeah, so and that's the kind of stuff we want to do more of. We want to do one-offs where we kind of ran into a little bit of a shortage on carbon this year. So we kind of got a little bit of a low in the middle of the year. So kind of put a little damper on some of the stuff we wanted to do. We made through it, this dang war is changing all kinds of stuff, but we've been able to kind of get through it. But yeah, we're gonna do, we might do a blue and gold and a white and green bow for, Michigan State, rivalry next year. We might go into the South and do something for, Oklahoma or Texas Longhorns.
The
We could,
Southeastern Bowhunter edition that's black and
yeah, we
orange,
could
or
do,
I don't know.
yeah,
I mean, whatever.
exactly, right. Uh, but
That'd
yeah,
be
be able
so
to do
sick.
more of that kind of stuff. And as a brand on how we're building the bows and how we're designing the bows, it's giving us more of an option to do that kind of stuff. Now with the trailer, we definitely can do, really smaller one-off kind of stuff and really we have a lot of fun with it. So It's been a lot of fun. I actually did, how many events did I do this year? So I used to do all the tags. I've kind of taken, we got to come a couple younger guys that are closer to your age that can handle that a little better than I can now. But yeah,
So
I did.
that's why you weren't in Tennessee?
That's one of the reasons I wasn't in Tennessee. Yeah.
Man.
But I still did four. I did PA. I did Crystal Mountain, Michigan. Actually, no, I did Boyne this year. And then I did Colorado and Utah. I actually just kind of got back from those. Me and Mitch went on a 15-day bender, driving all the way from here to Colorado. Did a dealer event between with Badass and Wild Arrow in
Good
between.
Lord.
Did Southern Utah and then drove all the way back. So we put quite a few thousand miles on, and that's just one of the loops. Mitch and Caleb did the original loop with Tennessee and Oklahoma and Texas, and they've been big loops. It's a lot to ask for us to do, but we love this brand. We love what we're doing, so it's a lot more. It's a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
time away from our families, but it's also a lot of fun. So
That sounds like a dream job to me. Being able to just drive around in a tat or a prime truck, go to archery events. I mean, I do have to sort of spotlight something about the bows, right? I know I said we weren't going to talk too much about the products, but I have to spotlight this. So, I've been shooting the Divide since when did I get it? Like April, I think it was a few
brother,
weeks before TAC or something. Been shooting that bow, absolutely love it. But I still have the form as my backup in case I do something stupid and, mess this thing up, which I did drop it at tax. So it's very possible. Um, but I took it to the shop and like you and I have talked about the, technology and stuff and basically how once you set this bow, once it's tuned, it's not going to move. Right. And
right?
I put that to the test a couple weeks ago with the form, which I have not tuned since the first time I took it to the shop, got it tuned, bullet holes, all that other stuff still shoots just as good. I mean, like nothing's moved. Um, still shoots bullet holes, still shoots just as good as the day that I got it. And that I think is a testament to what you guys do with these bows and whatever technology is being ran on them. Because, like you were saying earlier about the string stretch thing, a lot of guys, buddies of mine even, will have whatever bow they have and it's not a prime and I'm like, all right, well, you just bought that thing. Make sure you go get it retuned before season. And some do and some don't. And it's funny, I kind of poke fun at them when, say they go out and they hunt and they either miss a deer, they make a bad shot or whatever. And they're like, man, I don't know. I had the pin on it and the arrow was just flying weird. And, I was like, well, you didn't go retune it. I was like, you know how to fix that? Go get a prime. You won't have that problem.
And
And it's just I have to give y'all the credit where it's due because I personally always dealt with timing issues, string stretch, having to completely retune everything. I haven't had to do that. With these two bows, I have not had to do that.
I appreciate that. I mean, we can't say we're perfect. We try to be as much as we possibly can, I mean, those are the things that we go into do the process. I mean, if somebody leaves their prime bow in the backseat of their car on a 100-degree day, I can't
Oh yeah.
guarantee that thing's not going to stretch. Or,
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you haven't shot it for a month, if something isn't going to, but we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that's as minimal as possible, possible. So, we use one color strings and our string materials. We don't do a bunch of crazy colors. You can do that. You can put custom strings on it. But we try to stay simple with black and silver because the less dye in the string, the less stretch it's going to have. Do these cycles, do all these little things. So, it's a lot on our end to get it done. But we also want the customer to have the best experience. You want them to go out there and enjoy archery. You want them to go out there and enjoy the hunting, and not have to think about the bow. It's the same thing with our shim system. We want a simple shim tuning system, something that's not going to move. If you see something for us in the future that's going to lean towards a shim system or a tuning system that's going to be different, if it does come, because that's one thing people are saying is, hey, maybe they're falling behind. Well, got to remember other brands are using the same shim system we are. Um, but we're going to do it in the right way. It may take us a little longer, but it's going to be the right way. We're not going to bring out a tuning system that's going to cause another issue. A lot of brands are running with an axle that moves or things like that. Well, what you're doing is you're basically creating an unloaded cam. So if the future, if we go down those paths, it's going to be a rock solid bulletproof system. Like you said, the least thing we want, or the most, we want you to think about hunting. We don't want you thinking about, is my bow in time? Hey, I've been hiking on the mountain for 10 days. Is my bow still good? Do I recommend you shoot an arrow once in a while? Absolutely. Do
Yeah.
I recommend you go out there and, take shots throughout season? Absolutely. But, if we're going to build a bow that, you shouldn't have to, we still recommend it. We all do it. We don't want you to just hunt. We want you to enjoy archery. So we look at that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we want a bow that's going to be bulletproof. I mean, I'm about the most clumsiest dude in the world. I beat myself up. I still remember one of my first tacks. Jeremiah from Wild Arrows, one of the shops in Salt Lake City. Like, dude, I was using my bow as a damn crutch. I was a big boy back then. I've lost a lot of weight since then. But I could use
I've been there.
like a damn crutch to get up the mountain. And I still remember him saying, like, dude, you can find the best tool to freaking climb up the mountain and you can find the flattest rock to sit on. But now, I look back at that stuff and I go, man, these bows have taken those beatings. One of our buddies that works with a shop here in Michigan, but also works with Badlands, he dropped his bow down the mountain last year in Colorado. I mean, absolutely tumbled it down the mountain and killed a slob of a bull. With no retuning it. I've had guys run them over. I've had, even, I can't say everything's perfect, but like I had one of the guys from Osseo, the UPS truck ran over his bow before it got to his house. And he
Oh,
literally sent it to me. This is the first year with a form, and the bow was bent. It was bent, but the strings were on it. Everything looked good besides the riser was bent. And he sent me a picture. He's like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "Dude, all I have to say is that bow didn't blow up, and that's pretty freaking awesome." And I got him a new
yeah.
bow. Yeah, did and the crazy part about it is people, think about that and think about, bows being tough. Like I would assume the carbon would have broke. No, the aluminum is what been on that. Like any other bow on the market would have been. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're just trying to build bows that are bulletproof, that are made for the hardcore hunter, the guys that really want a technical bow, but also want a bow they don't have to screw with.
So, and this is just you can tell me no, you can tell me I can't talk about it. I just had a thought while you were saying that. Um, could we possibly see, because you guys are pretty big on the innovation side of things.
Mhm.
You figured out how to make a hybrid bow.
Yep.
So you've got the carbon and aluminum. Will we potentially ever see a carbon and magnite bow that is like the lightest thing on the planet, but also pretty strong? Or is that kind of like a we may not touch that sort of thing?
No, I'm not going to say we're not going to touch it because, like, if you look at our technology and our branding, it's AST,
Yeah.
it's advanced structure technology. It's the right materials in the right places. We're not just stuck to aluminum and carbon.
Yeah.
If we can find the right source for titanium, if we can find the right source for magnesium, I don't know. I mean, we've looked into magnite, we've looked into standard magnesium. Like, there's not much of a difference. I mean, I'm not going to call out other brands on it, but I
Yeah.
mean,
You just don't
magnesium.
think it'd be beneficial for y'all to go down that
Yeah,
trail with
it's
what
the
you
right
have right
spot,
now?
the right, if the price is right and for the right reasons, then yeah, sure we will. It's kind of the same thing we talk about on the broadheads. The hot buzzword right now is titanium,
Hmm.
titanium, titanium, titanium. But what a lot of people don't realize is steel is still stronger than titanium. Stiffness to weight ratio is great. It's probably great material for a ferrule, but it's not great for an impact.
Yeah.
So that's why all our heads are steel. Maybe we do go to a titanium at some point, but it's the same thing with the bows. Like if we can find the right materials in the right places, then yeah, we're going to look at those avenues. Like, we also got to look at the price. We know bows are
Yeah.
not cheaper, so we have to make sure we don't price ourselves out or build it right. But yeah, I could see magnesium, I could see titanium, I could see other materials in the future for sure.
Okay. I just because I always wonder when I look at like the bows that come out, it's like, what's next? I mean, you and I talked months ago, I think when the divide either came out or a few months after that. And I'm like, I feel like our industry is at a point now where it's just sort of you throw a tuning system on it and you maybe like what you guys did with the hybrid bow. That is a huge thing. That to me is more innovative than like a tuning system because we already had tuning systems before, and it's different. Like when I went to TAC, if somebody was shooting a form or a divide, I could tell. And I instantly knew that it was one of our bows. And I wonder, like, what type of innovation we're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years. Because I feel like we're at the speed cap. Maybe there will be different tuning systems that come out, maybe different materials, but it's it is. I rack my brain on it all the time, and it's
No,
like,
I think the industry is you said it. The speeds are there, the efficiencies are high. Materials are probably the next thing. You said it, tuning systems are out there. Can you simplify those? Can you make them better? There's gonna be a big jump at some point, but it also has to be a practical jump. It has to
yeah,
be a real issue that they're fixing. Whoever it comes out with, if it's Prime, if it's any of the brands. I mean, you didn't really see major change, and you still haven't really seen a lot of major changes in the last 10, 15 years. But you've seen the right changes, you've
yeah,
seen, the act, the ability to machine differently and better is definitely noticeable in a lot of these bows. Being more consistent is a major thing, like bow to bow to bow. A lot of people don't realize, machining isn't a perfect system, especially when a lot of people are using forgings and machines cut, but they don't necessarily keep where the machine wanted, the metal wanted to come back to. It's trying to figure out how to control those things, I think, is the next level in building a bow.
hmm
And like you said, I think materials are going to be an option, but there's only so many materials and so much access to that. How much, can we keep domestically, because a lot of those materials are foreign materials from China and things like
yeah,
that. They're machined here, they're built here, but we try to stay there. Like even our forgings, they were forged in Italy. We try to use the best things we possibly can, so
I
yeah,
see.
I'm excited about the
And
future. I mean, our new bow coming out here in the next couple months, I'm really excited about. It's got some things on it that are new to us, are new to the industry, progressing things that we've really enjoyed and really, got behind AST, being able to push that to the next level. Pushing our 5-axis machining, to the next level, being able to do more of that kind of stuff. Still look like a prime, still feel like a prime. Just and push it to the next level, and simplify things at the same time. If we can have a bow that, we can go out and beat up and have a good time with and still, hold our speeds and hold our tunes and um, you know, aim better because of center grip and balance better and not have to be as heavy as setups, then we're gonna be all over it. So um, yeah,
so what you're saying is you guys have a bunch of Italian Catholics forging the metal, and then it's getting sent here.
that's what it was. A bunch of ones over there beating them with hammers.
That makes it even better, man. If they're being like a name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dude, I learned how to say that in Latin. I'm not going to do it on here because it's terrible, but I spent like an hour trying to figure it out, and I was so happy. And then I started doing it around my wife, and she gave me this look, and she's like, "Are you going to keep doing that?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm probably not, honestly. I'm not good at it." Um, but no, man, I really, I've said it 1,000 times. I really love these bows. I really do. I shoot them every year against the competitors, and it's like I can't tell you every time I'm in the shop how many times someone's pulled up a Matthews or a Hoyt, and they're all good stuff. I'm not knocking them, but
They all make great bows.
yeah, I'm like, have you shot the prime yet? And they're like, I don't really like how it looks. I'm like, take the looks out of it. All right, whatever. You'll get used to that. It's a stronger riser anyway, but just if you don't like the look, fine, but go shoot it. And the one thing I will say, or I actually am curious about, is um, as bow brands as a whole, and Prime obviously being included in this, will we start seeing real world speeds being pushed out there? Like, do you think there's going to be more? Because I know T-Bone's been pushing this for a while with you get a bow that is like 350 foot a second, right? And then you got a guy that goes out there, he thinks he's going to shoot that. He shoots a 400 something grain arrow at 28 inches and it's like 290. And he gets mad because he's missing 60 foot a second. Do you think we're going to start seeing brands put out like, hey, at this draw length, which is like the average length, 65 pounds, 450 grain arrow, this is what the speed was, and you can kind of figure it out from there?
Um, I don't know. Like the problem is if all the brands have to do it,
Yeah.
not one. Because if just one does it and they're the ones advertising that and everybody's still advertising IBO and ASA and all their good stuff,
hmm
or sorry, just IBO. I don't know. Like I get what they're doing, but I think that's also part of what the review guys should be doing. I
Yeah.
think it's more of the stuff that the review guys should be doing is showing that kind of stuff instead of ooh, this one feels better than this one. Well, that's your own personal opinion.
Hmm.
Like I'd rather see guys do reviews and test it that way than just kind of be, oh, this one feels better in the hand than that one does. Because everybody wants a bow differently. Yeah, I hope so, but at the same time, it feels like the whole heavy front and center craze is a little bit behind us. So maybe a
Yeah.
little bit. I'm hoping a little bit. And guys are going back to standard builds, and going to a lighter arrow again. 30-inch, 70 pounds with 350 grain arrows, not asked for. There's a lot of guys running the new Victory HLRs or the new Carbon Express that are, like a lot of guys are going with this higher modulus carbon that gives you the strength and still can hold the speed up. So
Hmm.
it all depends on what the next gen of arrows are and the next, this. And yeah, I think you're going to see the review guys do it. So there's going to be that information is going to be out there, but I don't know if all the bow brands are going to get on that same path just because at the end of the day, speed kills. At least that's what people say, right? Speed's king, and people want to see the fastest bow they possibly can, even though they're never going to do it. It's the same thing
Yeah.
with you have a 300 spine or a 350 spine arrow. Most guys at the end of the day don't realize that's not the weight of the arrow. That's just the spine of the arrow. Oh yeah, I shoot 350 grades. No, you don't. You shoot
Yeah. I was
270.
guilty of that.
So it's just trying to keep it very uniformed and matching. Is it right? Probably not, but
Yeah.
but like you said, T-Bone's doing it, MFJJ's doing it. If there's some guys that are out there putting that information out there, at least people have a better idea of what a bow is going to do.
Yeah. I just, I know a lot of people I've talked to, at least at the shop, they're, saying that they're both shooting this. And I kind of look at them a little bit funny and I'm like, are you sure? Because you're not any bigger than me. And I've
Yeah.
shot your bow. I've shot that bow exactly. And it's not cooking at 348. It's probably 285, 280 something. Um, but I mean it is something that people are kind of calling for, I guess. But at the same time, I understand, hey, you can't just spoon feed these guys. I mean, some people need that, right? Like I did it first when I first started, but I was brand new. If you got
Right.
a guy that's been bow hunting for 20 years, it's kind of on him. Hey man, maybe understand your equipment better. Maybe don't just go buy some Walmart arrows and a bow and shoot it and be like, oh yeah, I'm good. And then you're shooting 32-inch arrows and your draw length's 27, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's more data out there. There's more information to be able to kind of figure this stuff out without even having to. But yeah, I recommend going to shoot at your crown, your local crown out, figure it out. I mean, a lot of guys, I would say 80-90% of the industry has gone to a movable sight now. You're going to need those speeds to get the right tapes on your bow.
Yeah.
So, it's worth going in there and checking it out. And don't be discouraged. If your bow's shooting 280, 290 and not shooting 320, you're still going to kill every animal in the freaking North
Oh yeah.
America. Like, yeah, you got 110 yards. You didn't get 120 out of this bow setup. At the end of the day, we're going to kill a whitetail usually under 30 yards, and that's going to do the job. There's
Yeah.
Western guys that are going to shoot a little further. But yeah, don't get discouraged. If you want to do a lighter arrow setup, there's lighter arrow setups that are stiff now. So there's all different kinds of options to do it. So, yeah, I'd like to see where the industry is going to go over the next few years over that. Like maybe they're going to still do the IBO speeds and then at a real world speed on the same ticket. But
Hmm.
like I said, maybe that's the job for some of these review guys to put that information out, or at least, be a little more clarity to hunters to be able to know you're not going to shoot 330, 340 feet per second. You're going to shoot 290s, 280s, 300, 310 if you got a long draw length,
Yeah.
So
You'll be like me and shoot 267, and that is plenty.
yeah,
That is
exactly.
still I actually was shocked. I shot my it was the form, and I I thought it was faster than that. Or no, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry. No, it was the divide. It was the divide that I did this with. And I forgot that I'm shooting the 7-inch brace height because I thought I was still in the like mid 270s. And I shot it over the Garmin and I'm like, I look at my buddy Chris. I'm like, yeah, you know what, dude? Garmin's are slow anyway. So I'm still gonna say I'm shooting 272. I've seen plenty of review videos. They're always slower. I don't buy it. But honestly, it doesn't matter. I mean, I killed deer with a 200 foot a second bow, right? Like speed's not, it is important, but it's not the biggest thing, right?
Right.
But look, man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad that we got to do a little personal deep dive on you. I feel like I know you a lot better, especially
Appreciate
since we're Catholic brothers,
it.
which I never knew. That's still so crazy to me. And I hope any nuns that are listening, if they are, Don't take what I said personally. We love you. It's just
We
maybe
love them. We love
be a little nicer. You know, it's not that hard. But no, man, before we wrap up, can you maybe give a little bit of what we should expect from Prime and G5 this coming fall? Um, Obviously don't let the whole cat out of the bag, but just maybe a little
Yeah.
something.
I've kind of hinted at it a little bit. I would say, AST is here to stay. We're definitely loving that structure. We're loving that build platform. We're just going to take it to the next level. All I can say is there's going to be some new stuff coming. It's worth checking out. So, come October, November, get into your shops, check it out. I'm really, really excited to see what the guys think of this new bow. On the G5 side, there's not going to be a ton of changes. We are going to we're working on some projects. I don't know if they'll be out this fall or not, but we'll have some stuff in the near future. Just keep an eye on that. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I know it was pretty vague on what I said, but like I said, things are changing in the right direction with the hardcore, prime standards, prime, wordage behind it. And, we're not going to change that. We're still moving forward with center grip, AST, all the stuff you love from us. We're just going to take it to the next level.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm looking forward to it. You know I'm gonna bug you about telling me what's coming, and
Oh, I know you will.
I'm gonna keep doing it. So, but man, thank you for everything you guys have done for me. I mean, seriously, I brag about y'all all the time about how good the bow is, how good the company is, how good you are. I mean, you deal with my crap all the time, so I can't thank you enough for that. Someone's got to. But yeah, man, that's another one in the book. So guys, remember Christ is King. So go read your Bible and go shoot your bow.
Amen.